All right, so I'm going to tell everybody this right now. This is the third time I've recorded this prediction video. That's how on the fence I am about it. Usually when I record these prediction videos, they're 2-3 weeks in advance. I'll upload them and I'll have them set for when the time comes. You know what I'm saying? With this one, I truly perceive it as a 50-50 fight. I see a few different ways in which it can play out, but I think and I've been going back and forth in the last few weeks. I've really been going back and forth with my head as to who I'm rocking with in this fight, man. And I don't need to go through the tail of the tape and all that. We all know that Spence has got 3 of the 4 titles. Crawford's got the WBO, and they're going for undisputed. Crawford's got a 2-inch reach advantage over Spence. Spence is 2 years younger. Spence is 33. Crawford's 35. So there's really 2 ways in which I came down to as to who I think's gonna win this fight, man. And I might be going against the grain by saying this, but whatever, man. At some point you're gonna overanalyze the fight, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. So, there's a few things I want to take into account. One of them is, I'm going to start with Spence. We'll start with Spence. I'm going to say, Spence has got the better jab. He's the better body puncher of the 2. All right, he's got the higher volume of the 2. Crawford's more of a boxer puncher that has great counter abilities, and he's got a mean streak in him, and I'll get to that later. All right. Spence, all right. So Spence has got the better jab. He's got the better body work. He's got the higher volume. But he's also the more lethargic of the 2. He's also been the more inactive of the 2. And one thing I'm not going to listen to in this fight, man, is the size disparity. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. I've told you this dudes before. This is the year of the little man. Tank Davis was the little guy against Ryan Garcia. Tank knocked him out. I understand it was at a catchweight. Lomachenko was the little guy against Devin Haney. Lomachenko beat the hell out of Devin Haney and got robbed. Teofimo Lopez was the little guy against Josh Taylor. Teofimo beat the hell out of Josh Taylor. Inoue was the little guy against Fulton, and he made a mockery of Stephen Fulton the other day. So, I don't want to hear nothing about the size, is my point with bringing all those fights up. And I got 3 out of them 4 right, by the way. The only one I got wrong out of them was Taylor and Teofimo. I picked Tank to knock Ryan out. I picked Loma to beat Haney, which he did. Don't give me that other shit. And I picked Inoue to knock out Fulton. So, I don't want to hear anything about the size disparity. All right, Crawford's been a welterweight for 5 years now. All right. Crawford has one job to do in this fight. All right, and that is to not let Errol Spence get in his rhythm, not let him get his jab going, not let him get his body punching off. All right, and while he's doing not letting the wheels turn as far as Errol Spence is concerned. He's got to offset Errol Spence's rhythm. Try saying that 5 times fast. He can't let him get into his groove. You understand what I'm saying? And that's going to be a key thing for Crawford in this fight. All right? He cannot let Spence get into his groove. And in the meantime, he has to be looking to snake Spence with hard counter shots. All right? And at some point in this fight, Crawford is going to have to go tick for tack and try to back Spence up. He can't just fight off the back foot all night. He's going to have to walk through the fire a little bit in this fight. All right? He can't just fight off the back foot, because if you fight off the back foot against Errol Spence, guess what? Errol Spence is best at coming forward. Errol Spence isn't great off the back foot. He's great at coming forward, throwing his jab out there and going downstairs to the body. So if you're letting Spence come forward all night, guess what? He's going to get into his rhythm. Before you know it, you're going to be down on the cards, and then Crawford's going to have an uphill battle to climb. All right? So that's what Crawford can't allow to happen. You know what I'm saying? He can't allow that shit to happen. All right? As far as Spence goes, he needs to be ready to make adjustments. All right? Crawford is very good at making adjustments. And he will be making adjustments in this fight to try to walk Spence into a hard counter shot or a big overhand or a check hook or something like that. Okay? Crawford is going to look to snipe Errol Spence in this fight. All right? And that's what Spence, and Spence, again, Spence has to start early, establish his rhythm, say, no, I'm the boss in here, and not let Crawford make the proper adjustments. So it's, you know, it's really a matter of who gets their game going, you know. So I'm going to say this right now, man. I'm going to say this as well. Neither one of them have been incredibly active. Crawford's fought 3 times in the past 3 years. Errol Spence has only fought twice in the past 3.5, 4 years. You know, he's only had 2 fights since 2020. Once against Danny Garcia and once against Ugas. And I never really rated either of those guys. I did think Ugas deserved to get the decision over Sean Porter. But, you know, the version of Pacquiao he fought was shot to pieces. And I thought Ugas got a little bit too much credit for that. But nevertheless, my point being with all that is, yes, Errol Spence has the better resume at welterweight. Not overall, but at welterweight he does. But it's not, and I heard Montero mention this the other day. Shout out to my paisan Montero. It's not like it's leaps and bounds ahead of Crawford's. You know, Spence fought the fresher version of Porter. I understand that. I never really gave either one of them credit for the Brook win, because Brook, there was an asterisk attached to both Spence's win over Brook and Crawford's win over Brook. When Spence fought him, he just got his face broken by a prime Gennady Golovkin, and he was weight drained. He was jumping back down from 160 to 147. When Crawford fought him, he was a shell of him, former self. So I never really rated that win for Spence either way. The one thing I will say is that Spence did go to England to fight him, which, you know, fair enough, right? But, and Crawford did make a lot easier work of Brook than Spence did. And like I say, I never really rated that win for either of them because there was an asterisk next to it. Then you got Porter. That kind of cancels each other out. Spence fought the fresher version of Porter, but Crawford stopped him where Spence didn't. And Danny, Mikey, Ugas, are those guys leaps and bounds better than somebody like Mean Machine Kavalauskas or Felix Diaz a few years ago? I don't think so. I personally don't believe so. So I don't think it's like Errol Spence has just been fighting all top-notch competition, whereas Crawford ain't fought shit. I disagree with anybody who says that. And I'm going to say this again, bro. I'm one of the very few guys that wasn't meat riding for either guy in this fight. I like them both. I just want to see a good fight. I'm a little bit bigger of a Crawford fan because he's a ghetto boy from the Midwest like me. He's a Packers fan, and he's himself. He doesn't wear all the flashy jewelry and show up in flashy cars riding down the strip in Vegas. That man's just himself, just like I am. He doesn't try to portray himself to be something he's not, and I think Errol Spence definitely does that. So first with the cowboy, well, more later with the cowboy shit on the ranch, and then maybe earlier in his life being trying to hang around with the hoodlums when he's not really one of them. And Errol Spence ain't no hoodlum, bro. He's not. All right. So with all that being said, man, I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. And I'm going to say that Terrance Crawford knocks his ass out. I think the inactivity and the lifestyle Errol Spence has been having outside the ring is going to come back to bite him in the ass in this fight. I think that You know, he's been out of the ring for 15 months, man. Been getting in a car crash, and I understand that Errol Spence isn't the first boxer to be a partier. You know, De La Hoya, Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, they were all party animals, man. Camacho, etc. Rest in peace. You know, but I just think when you're fighting a guy that's been living the cleaner lifestyle, bro, a guy that's been taking shit a lot more serious in life, I think this is going to be the time where it comes back to haunt Errol Spence. I believe that. I think that Spence is going to get into an early lead. I think he's probably going to win the first couple rounds while Crawford's trying to measure the distance, figure him out. And I do think Crawford will figure out his timing and his rhythm. And I do think Crawford is going to be able to counter Spence with hard shots late in this fight. And I think he's going to catch him with something. And I'm going to go on the limb right now and say it's going to be a check hook or a right hook. All right? I'm going to say it's going to be a right hook while Errol Spence is coming forward. That it's not going to drop Errol Spence, but it's going to rattle him real bad. Okay? I'm going to say it's going to be a right hook that does it. Probably when Spence is coming in. All right? And I think, you know, because all Crawford has to do is get you hurt, man. Because he's one of the meanest finishers in the game. I'm not going to say he's Inoue, but Crawford is a mean son of a bitch when he gets you hurt, bro. He's a mean son of a bitch, bro. And I do think that he is going to rock Errol Spence at some point in this fight. All right? I think the inactivity is going to come back and haunt Spence a little bit in the lifestyle he's been living outside of the ring. And at some point in this fight, even if Crawford's down on the cards, I think he's going to get sniped by a counter shot or a check hook or something like that from Crawford. It's going to rattle Errol Spence real bad, and then Crawford's going to rip his head off from there on out. And I think Crawford's going to be down on the cards when this happens too. So for my official prediction, I'm saying Terrance Crawford wins this fight by a 9th round knockout. All right? Now, with that being said, if this fight is even remotely close, if it's 7-5, 8-4 Crawford, and it goes to the scorecards, you can mark my words, they will either call it a draw or they will give the decision to Errol Spence. And I'm glad they announced the judges, because the judges are the usual suspects. Tim Cheatham, Steve Weisfeld, the usual suspects. So if this fight's a 8-4, maybe 7-5 Crawford, something along those lines, they're going to either call it a draw or give it to Spence. And shout out to my boy Montero, because he said this. This has kind of like a Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez 1 vibe to it. And I wouldn't even be opposed to you putting a little bit of money on a draw, to be honest with you. But for my official prediction, I think Crawford's going to clip him at some point in this fight. He's going to hurt Errol Spence real bad, and he's going to be able to finish. If not finish him, drop him. And drop him a couple of times. And maybe that will sway that decision a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So for my official prediction, I got Crawford getting Spence out of there late in this fight after a tough, grueling fight. But again, I stress the point that Crawford cannot let Spence get into his rhythm, get his jab going, get his volume going, get his body punching going, and establish the pace. I stress that factor. Because if he does that, he's going to be too far behind once you get into round 4, 5, 6. He's got to show Spence who the boss is in there. And he can't fight off the back foot all night. He's going to have to walk into the fire. In spurts in this fight, Crawford's going to have to walk into the fire and not fight off the back foot the whole time. All right? But that's my 2 cents, guys. I got Crawford, 9th or 10th round knockout. Please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. God bless you all. And, yeah, man, we'll see you Saturday for the big fight, brothers and sisters. I'll be talking to you, man.